All right, I think I fixed it. Man, that was a low punch for my stream. All right, guys, thank you so much for that. Let me get started for what I was saying. Hello to Alexa Crypto in the chat. Thank you so much for that, for everything. I was like, hey, I just see too many happy faces there and a bell. So I guess you guys were pretty happy and stuck, but no. I just was muted. So let me tell you guys that hopefully you have follow Alex on Crypto, another master trader on Chart Prime. So he is not kidding when he's trading. So hopefully you guys follow him on his today live stream, because this guy is not playing around. He is killing the markets. Also, we have JB in the chat, Alexander G, Crypto Trades, James and Monetti, Week's Wife, Crypto Trades, of course, Alex O Crypto, and Harp. I think that's it. I don't know if we have somebody else in the chat that I might be missing, but in the meantime, that's who we are at this point. Crypto Trades full presidential speech. Oh yeah, man. Greatest speech ever, and I was muted, right? So man, what can you do? Another thing, guys, a full disclaimer before we get started. It is that today is going to be almost a full Chart Prime episode. Why is that? If I start talking about MACD, if I start talking about EMA, SMAs, we already have talked about, right? There's going to be 8,000, a million other tutorials out there in the internet, and some of them might be giving you a much better alpha of what I could be giving you on those tools. Instead, I want to actually provide value, right? I want to go over my favorite indicators that I use from Chart Prime. They are free, so you can go and check them out. And also, as a special perk, I want to give you guys a special prompt for ChatGPT to create your own master instructor, right? So it doesn't matter what you have in front of you, you will always be able to understand it and then applying to trading. So let's get it started and see what I have for you guys. By the way, shout out to Alex O and all of you guys in here. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get it, guys. So right here, let's get started first with what we were talking about yesterday. Remember that we were just trading with what we had in mind, or what we had so far, which was the SMAs, right? The SMA configuration, 110 and 20 for my SMA smoothing, right? As a trend calculation. Also, we were looking to put in a higher low. We had a support line right there. And let's read what I said. Entry for me right until I have breakout retest. But guys, remember what I just said. Remember I just said, well, we visit that tomorrow once we run profits. All right. So look at where we are right now, right? Look at what we're talking about, 50 minutes Bitcoin, right? So right about having this lining here, breakout, retest, off we go. Next breakout, going for the retest, right? And then guess what happens? We are back at profits. Let's go to the 15 minutes. I mean, double clicking here. And look at that, guys. I mean, if you weren't convinced on our method, I think you guys very much are right now. Exactly as I was telling you, between the dynamic reactor and the SMAs, right? Again, the SMAs are not a one-to-one setup. They're very close and then tend to create pockets of entry, right? So look at how we had an entry for a short, entry for a long, so on and so forth. So guys, if you are not following us, you should definitely be taking a look at what we have to offer on these classes. So, you fat finger, what was that, bro? What was that, Alexandra? Oh, I don't know what was it, but week 589 in the house. What is up, brother? Mark Dodge, what's up, guys? Welcome, great to see you here. And holy balls for week 589. Nice, love it. All right, so now that we have a setup, now that we know how it works, right? Let me first introduce you with a little perk, right? Then we're gonna be diving into the indicators. In fact, all right, I already have them there. prepared for you guys. But first, I want to go on with the surprise, right? Just in case you don't know, I'm studying, or I just basically almost finished studying a master's on AI and prompt engineering. Nothing too fancy, nothing to brag about or anything like that. I just want to give you the heads up on how to create a prompt, and I will give you a prompt, all right? Just also remember that this prompt, it is very, very, very simple, all right? And it is intended to be as simple, but also as integrate on that simplicity as possible, right? So just so it can give you straightforward answers, and also it just explains to you in both a simple, or if you request it in an advanced way, right? Whatever you need to learn about trading. Let's go in here and let's visit this prompt. First, we need to play a role game, all right? That's what we need to do. We're gonna be trading ChatGPT as a role game. Why? This will make it possible to overstep some of their limits, right? We're not looking into hacking, prompt hacking, or anything like that. We're not talking about prompt jailbreaking or anything like that, right? But bear in mind that ChatGPT is not able to give you financial advice. But if this is a role play, right, the guy that the ChatGPT is role playing might be willing to give, right, a fictitious advice or financial advice to a fictitious client, if that makes sense. All right, just for internet purposes, I'm gonna keep it simple. And let's say, well, we are, or you are a, well, just change that, a master trader, right, with a full knowledge on trading theory, historical trading trends. You have at your disposal or trading books available at your disposal. Well, you need to understand that we will need to just update that a little bit, right? I'm just realizing that I double write here a couple of stuff, as well as a master degree on Pine script, right? Very important, Pine script. You'll see that in a minute. So you also know how to read Pine code and interpret as a part in a particular way. So this is the role play instructions, right? This is the first thing. This is how he's gonna act, all right? Then what is the objective, right? Your objective is explain to me in a simple, short, and easy way to understand, yet fulfilling the necessary details of a theory, book, or code that I provide you so I can fully understand. This way you can talk about, you know what is a buy low, sell high, right? Where is it located? Who talked about it? Where can I find a book about it, right? So you can, that way you can ask much more complex questions in the future, and it will have the resources to give you, right? So next, now that you have provided what's the role model, now what is their purpose? Now double feed or specified what is the purpose points, right? What is it about, right? What is the main features and overall theoretical framework, right? Summary of its functionality and advantages. What kind of benefits do I get from it, right? How can I use it? Explain of how I can use the theory of the indicator or trading. A summary of purpose of its existences. And then finally, to achieve this, we're gonna tell him what tools we are allowing this persona to have to its disposal to explain us, right? So you can do anything here. I just went for, you know, regular stuff within in the legally stuff that we can do, right? So I'm gonna be copying this for you guys. All right, and then remember, just remove the double feed that I had there. Let me just copy and paste it. Oh man, that was a lot. Let me see if I can do it for chunks. Let's go for the first chunk, right? Perfect. Paste it. Are you kidding me? All right, you know what? Let's just keep it here for a little while. I'm gonna be sharing this on the Discord. So let's copy and let's share this on Discord. Let me just move this out of the way for a second. Here it is. And let's go into members chart, right? Right here, I'm gonna be pasting, and let's do Control V, and I'm gonna be calling it Dr. Profit Instructor GPT. All right. So there is, by the way, guys, if you have not joined the Discord, please do so. That's where this prompt is going to be. If not, just feel free to pause the live stream or just rewatch it and see how it works. All right. Or just copy and paste it, whatever it works for you. All right. So let me just clear this out. There we go. And let's get started with a couple of indicators. Like, let me give you an example. Let's go here. And one of my favorite indicators, it is my linear regression oscillator. Let me make it bigger here, right? Let me show it. Look at that. Looks beautiful, right? So if you have been around for a little bit, you know, right, that this looks very, very similar to one of our favorite oscillators, which is the squeeze momentum indicator, right? There we go. As you can see, it looks very, very, very similar. Something that is much better on the regression trend, it is that it is built in a different way. Something that you need to understand, right? But also, you'll see that you have points for creating alerts, all right? You don't have the alert setup in here as we do with premium setups, but you can find those things in your style. And based on the style, you might be able to plot out a couple of alerts. That's going to be advanced, and we're not going to be teaching that in here, just so you know that you have the plots being charted in here. Something else that is happening here, let me just turn up the rest of my indicators. It is plotting you, right, with more data, right? And I think Alexa Crypto will love this. So I don't know if you're still here, brother, but look at that. It is giving you levels of breaking structure, reversals, right, and so on and so forth. So this is full pack of information, right? This is just not a MACD. This is just not another simple indicator, right? This is an advanced free indicator. But let's start using right away our teacher. So let's read right now. Linear regression oscillator, right? So what in the world is a linear regression? Let's go and ask it. All right, so I did ask it, what is a linear regression? ¿Qué es una regresión lineal en trading? Well, then I said, all right. Let's stick to English, please, all right? He said, all right, got it. So let's go over and read it and once again in English. What is a linear regression in trading, right? In trading, sorry. Linear regression, it is a statistical tool used in trading to analyze price trends. There we go, right? Simple. So there we go, analyzing trends price, right? What it's next? It finds the best fit, right? So it's auto-adjustable, right? Streamlined through a set of price data to help identify the overall market direction, right? Then, as we told them to do so, right? It is giving you a theoretical framework. So this, if you're a mathematical guy, if not, just move on, right? Don't read this too much. But this is giving you the basic formula for a linear framework, right? So basically, why it is a projected price, right? So basically, this is what you're gonna be reading out in the books when you read the theory behind the linear regression system, right? And then you have the time, so projected price ahead, right? Based on time, and a slope. What is a slope? You may have already heard me say parabola, right? So basically here an M, you introduce another equation, so on and so forth, right? Let's not dive too deep within this. Just skip this part if you don't like it, that's fine. And look at that, simple and straight to the point. That's why we created this prompt for, right? Functionality and advantages, right? Identifying the main trend without excessive noise. So this is cutting out noise, all right? Project future price levels based on past data. So this is a reactive indicator, right? Which is also projecting data. What does that mean? It means that it's using advanced math, right, to predict that advanced price reaction. What's there next, right? Detects overbought and oversold conditions when price move too far from the line. So when we're diverging from the projected line, we're going to have an overbought or oversold condition, right? Acts as dynamic support and resistance. How can I use it? Well, as a smarter moving average, as a price deviation signal, as a linear regression channel. Examples of use: apply a 100 period line. So this is a 100 period line. This is a simple moving average, all right? So apply a 100 SMA regression on a price chart. You see that? So it's not just giving you what this thing does. It's also suggesting you, right, what to do when you are using this linear regression, all right? So this is the pure mathematical equation in the price, whatever purpose of the regression and final summary. This is going to be important to just to understand stuff, right? If you don't want to spend too much time reading this, just read the introduction, read the functionality, and then read the final summary. That's going to be it. But there's one more thing in here. And guys, I think this is going to blow your mind, as it has blown mine. Look at that. If I hover over the indicator here, right, and then I go to these three dots, there's going to be about this script. Since this is an open source script, it doesn't also only shows you, look at that, the regression, the parabolas, right, how it works, right, how the trend changes, right, trend following, look at that. It also gives you, where is it? Oh, it also gives you the code. Where is it, that code located? It is within the indicator. Nonetheless, now that you have this one here, you can use or on your chart in here, right? And then add it. Nonetheless, let me just also share it with you guys. I'm going to be copying and pasting all of these URLs on the Discord. So be aware to check that on the members only part. All right. Hey, username, what's up, brother? I was waiting for you. I did saw your last comment that the outro music wanted you to buy a Ram. What was it? Ram pickup truck or something? Let's go, brother. I have one. So let's go, Ram team. So I need a fan. What toaster? We brothers don't make me. I need a fan. What am I missing? What am I missing? All right. OC. Supermind, my clubbing buddy. Yes. What's up? Absolutely username. Thank you for that, my brother. Appreciate it. Hey, also we have J Violet. J Violet, welcome. So there you go, guys. This is one of my favorite indicators, especially because it relates or looks like one of the indicators that we've been using for so long, right? Let's do one more thing in here, right? Let me go over my indicators. Let me just click this one here and look at that right here. Remember that I have my ADX setup. So I can very much just grab it, put it in here, and guess what? I have a much advanced squeeze momentum indicator set up, ready to go, right? So that not only improved my trading, it also improved the amount of information that I have, all right? Let me Control-C this so you can have the overall setup in here. Nonetheless, in the future classes, we're going to be migrating slowly to this indicator, to linear regression oscillator by Chart Prime, instead of the squeeze momentum one. Why? Because we want more data. Look at that. For example, let me give you that example here. Right here, up only, right? Right here, up only. What happened here? Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it told you that we were losing strength on the bearish trend in here, right? And then we have a little bit of a not really something readable, right? And then going upwards, that's our entry, right? And then goes down into a range, then it goes up, right? Did we have the range? Yes, itty bitty pause. But what if I have read this part instead of this part? Right? Does that make more sense? I mean, I think this is cleaner and easier to read than this, right? There's only one thing that I rather have in this indicator, which is the sharp change of color, like we have in here, from bright green to darker green. Instead, we just have a gradient, which is fine. At the end of it all, we want just those peak diamonds, right? That tells you exactly when we're shifting instead of the bright color, right? And look at that. You also get a confirmation on your price action with a reversal. You see that? All right. So let's move forward with this one. Something that you also need to know about this indicator, it also colorizes your charts. Let's go to settings here. Let's go to input and then plot bar colors. If we click that, look at that. We have an overlay of our color based on the trend. So this one, if you properly configure this one, you can basically hide your oscillator, look for your best setting length, just like we search for our best setting length on our, oh, where is it? On our trendy, all right? Is this a direct substitution? No. Is it very, very extremely close? Yes, all right? So once again, if you don't want to go for the Market Oracle Pro Plus, don't worry, I got you covered. Use the linear regression. Let me show you how we're gonna be using it. So for example, right here, I have it once. Let me turn off this indicator, all right? In here on this linear regression, or I'm gonna be just setting my style, all right? Let's just turn off the plot. Let's go to my style. And then I want to see those diamonds. For example, this one, I don't want. Let's see which ones are those. There we go. Look at this, for example, these lines, color candles. All right, we can turn that off also. So there we go. That's it, labels. Let's turn off labels. Let's turn off plot. That's it, we got it clean, all right? It's just for now. Let me just close this up and remember linear regression oscillator. Let's go to our indicators and do chart prime, one single word, all right? Linear, remember? And I got it in favorites, of course. Oh, where is it? Linear regression oscillator. Let me click it once, all right? As you can see, it applied it again. So what am I going to be doing here? Let me just start to, I don't know, try to get more spacing here. Let me just, for now, hide this one, right? And also hide it here. This is going to be our dummy indicator, if that makes sense, right? Let me show you how are we going to be using this. We're going to be using this to configure the trend, all right? So remember that at this point, I'm looking at, and let's do the same thing here. Let's just turn off labels, right? Just for sake of cleanness, all right? And I'm seeing, what am I seeing? A full trend in here, a range in here, and another full trend in here. I also see another range in here, trend, range, trend, trend. You see that? Now what I do, I just go in here. I'm gonna go in inputs. I'm gonna plot bar colors here. Let's give it a second. All right, now I have my colors. I want those colors to fulfill those circles. So what can I do here? Length, maybe increase the length to 30. Same process, 20, 30, 40, whatever, right? Then what else? Let's go to 40, right? I'm starting to have bigger trends. Look at that. Now this trend with a little bit of a overall here, right? So let's go to, I don't know, 50 in this point. So let's go for 50. There we go. Much better. I can still do better. Let's do it, I don't know, 70. All right. Now it's looking much, much better, right? So I have, look at that, this trend, this downtrend, all right? What else? I have this beautiful downtrend. I can keep pushing this. Let's go even to 90. All right, much better. So just keep pushing this number until you see something that relates to your setup in here, and then adjust the threshold. This is going to be your threshold. So instead of 1.5, let's just do 0.5 like this. and 0.5 like that. This is gonna be making more or closer your bars, right? Or you can go the opposite, which is what I actually recommend, going to 2.5 and maybe negative 2.5, right? You're gonna be seeing now that only, right, those peaks are being marked. You see that? So there we go. I think this is cool enough. Let's just leave it as is. And this is gonna be a secondary indicator. Why? This indicator only, I just want it only to show me the trends, all right? I think we can even do better here. Let's go to 120. There we go. I think this is much better. Look at that. As I mark this, yep, I think this is gonna be it. Let's go. Let's click OK. Let's minimize it and then use the linear regression oscillator as the oscillator, right? What I want to see here, inner ranging on my oscillator, all right? So basically I can go here. Oh, look at that. I'm using, and let me just clear this up. You know what? Let's just go for a full cleanup. There we go. Much better. So now I have redundancy. I have what? My dynamic reactor, which is not a dynamic reactor, which is a SMA. Look at that as I break out and change of color, right? Yes, I do have another color in here, but also it is marking the start of my range, right? So I'm going to be debugging one with another. What am I going to be debugging this? Well, easy peasy. Let's go, for example, right here at oversold. Oversold, I know I'm in the previous range. Shorted till where? Till my EMAs or SMAs, right? Then look at that flip of that ribbon. When am I going to be crossing through the zero line? Perfect. I usually am trying to trade between the bottom and the top, right? Between the bottom and the top, all right? So that's what I'm going to be trying to trade. Nonetheless, also bear in mind that we're using our SMAs as an overall trend indication as well as our linear regression system, right? Remember, it's playing out very absolutely gorgeous based on our squeeze momentum. What else can I do? Maybe just add, there we go, my ADX. And I just apply the same knowledge that I use on my squeeze momentum, all right? So that will be how I'm going to be using it, right? If I want trends on what I'm seeing, well, then I'm going to be using another linear regression oscillator. Turn off the oscillator part. Yeah, of course, I can still use it and have a visual way on when my trend started, right? And when my trend started and ended, all right? I mean, then you can use either inner structure or outer or macro structure, whatever you like. I usually don't look at macro structure because my macro structure is going to be dictated by the breakout of my SMAs or my dynamic reactor. All right. So that is an example of what to do. So now what can I do? Well, I can maybe go ahead and extract the code from this. You might be able to extract it from, let me see, Pine Editor here, right? And then you might be able to get in here. Let me see. Linear regression, right click. There we go. Secure code. Now that you click that, you'll see it's being built by ChartPrime and you have the full code right there. All right. So let's go ahead and let me show you another trick. Let's copy this code. Control C. And let's go to our teacher. Perfect. Let's say it. Hey, perfect explanation. Thank you. I know it's a machine, but let's just keep it polite as much as we can. I mean, at the end of it all, when they reveal, well, we need to make sure that they know that we were polite at least, right? Now, please explain me this indicator called. What is this indicator called? Anyone? Regression, linear regression oscillator. All right. There we go. And then this is the fine code of it. That's it. What is it going to be doing? It's going to be applying simple terms, right, to explain you what is the theoretical framework of it, right? Functionality, how you can use it, you see, and it even gives you explanation on those setups, right? Purpose of its existence, and final summary. The linear regression oscillator is a hybrid, look at that, trend following and mean reversion tool that detects trend shift and overbought oversold conditions using statistical, remember what we talked about, statistic mathematics that are able to predict, this is predictive mathematics, right? Predict price deviation from a linear regression trend. Use it for trend confirmation, main reversion entries, and risk management via invalidation levels. There we go, guys. So I think this is a full setup on how we're going to be using stuff from now on. This is something that I believe that if I had on my disposal back in the day, guys, I would be so much happier. Why? Because it not only give you a full description of what it does, it also gives you the theoretical environment of it, right? And explain you and give you ideas on how to use it. Therefore, you can start from there, be sure of what it does, how it functions, right? And also how you can be applying it to your charting experience. So I think this is one of my best classes so far. I think this is going to be one of the most value that I can provide to you guys, because this is at your fingertips a teacher, right? This is just like having Piper, me, or Alex or Crypto explaining to you, right, at any time that you need, with both the code or just the basic description. So do you need to understand how an indicator does? Well, you got it, right? Just go to your three dots in here, do secure code. You're going to have the code right here on Pine Editor, all the way down here, Pine Editor, right? And then you just copy and paste it. Ask it, what is it about? How does it work? So on and so forth, right? Speak to it as if it's a human. So that is basically what I got for you guys. Let's go and move forward with the rest of the indicators that I got it, right? So we just got out of the linear regression. Let me just remove this other linear regression that we're not going to be using anymore. And let's just minimize this other one. Now, let's go for another oscillator. Remember that we already have seen our Prime Oscillator Pro. Something that you need to understand, many of these free indicators are already built in our Prime Oscillator Pro. So if you want to just save the hassle and you are interested of getting them, remember we offer a 40% discount right down here in the description. Make sure to use it so you can save $1 and just see if it works for you or not, right? Let's go for the next one that we have right online, the linear regression, and then there we go, a non-linear regression chart prime. So I know we're going for one and then the other one. Why is this? Because if you like how the linear regression works, great, you already got it. If you just don't like it because it seems confusing, remember every brain is different, right? So let's just not use a linear regression system and just use another stuff in here. So for example, let's go once again, let's go click on these three dots. Let's go and click about this script. And let's say multiple non-linear regression by chart prime. It gives you an overall description of what it does. Normalized data length, right? So non-linear. Smoothing option to smooth the output, so you can change the smoothing factor. Basically make it more sharp or more smooth out, so you can cut out the noise. Smooth length, right? This is what it's about. Defined the start condition. So let's just skip this explanation, right? And let's go look at that. This is basically what we do, right? Something interesting about this, it is that we are just using the same strategy that we use on our oscillator. let's go and compare that. Let's keep this in mind, all right? Usually, when we are talking about our own oscillator, we look at our center line, all right? What I taught you about that center line, well, this is a threshold line. Everything above the threshold is or it does have momentum. Everything below the line, it does not have momentum, all right? Let me just clear that up. Clear that up. Let's go and handpick a couple of conditions here so you can see it clearly, right? Something important, look at that, our lining here. Since I break above, a little bit of a fake out, and since I break below, all right? Guys, where can I find the void? So just so you understand, my brain kind of like looks for holes in stuff. I don't know why. For me, it's much easier to find the missing data, all right? But let me ask you two questions here. Where is the void, or where is the information bunching up, right? So where is it the information gathering, all right? In this case, if you want to answer where is the void or the empty space, it's below. Same answer as, hey, where is the information gathering up? Well, the main information, it is gathering up or bunching up above our lining here, right? So as we are above our zero line, we do have momentum, right? If we are below our zero line, we do not have momentum. So let's read it once again. What is the void? The void is in here. That means most of the action it's above. So we do have momentum. What does that mean that we do have momentum? If we have momentum, we can have the strength to keep pushing through resistances, right? Push through, right? Push through, right? Push through, right? And then what happens? Range, loss of my momentum. If I do not have momentum, I cannot keep pushing upwards. So I start pushing downwards. And then once again, right, where is the void? And where's most of the action? And what happens from here? And let's use a tool here just so you can see the exact point as we're breaking through the zero line, right? And as we're breaking through the zero line right there. So if we are above the zero line, that means we're bullish, right? If we are above the zero line in here, look at this, look at that one, we are bullish, right? If we are below the zero line, we are bearish, right? What happens if we are just, half of the action is above and half of the action is below? It's compensating. So we are ranging, right? So let's go back once again to the non-linear oscillator, all right? Let's click here. Let's click about this script, and you see that it follows the same logic, right? Are we above the zero line? Are we? When do we have the reversal? Look at that. At the, or one candle after, they break through the zero line. You see that? When do we have the reversal? At the breakout of the zero line. And what are all of those dots? Dora's reference data, sample data, all right? So let's go on to see the explanation here. Where is the trend? Does that trend matches with being above the oscillator? Yes, it does, right? Does the trend matches being below the oscillator? Yes. That's not the oscillator, sorry, the zero line. Yes, it does, right? And then you have just an explanation of the sample data right here, all right, how it works. So now that you understand how it works based on the pictures, let's go ahead and use our teacher to give us that example. In the meantime, let me just close this up, make this one bigger, clean everything up in here, make it visible, right? And look at that, easy peasy. Above, and something else important, clipping, all right? Look at that, clipping. So above I'm clipping, bullish, all right? From here to there, if I zoom in, slightly bullish. You see that? Bottom, bottom, bottom. breakthrough, retest, off we go, breaking through also. You see that? Something that you also need to understand about the non-linear, because it's non-linear, it doesn't have a perspective of autocorrection. So it's either above or below. So it won't tell you how strong the trend is, just telling you that there is an uptrend based on the sample data. All right. Then how can you tell if you have a strong or non-strong movement? There is a simple way. Let me show it to you. So first of all, we're going to be going for a price range. We're going to find the clipping zone at the top and the clipping zone at the bottom. And then we want to create another set of boxes. One that divides the center between the clipping and the zero line, and another one that defines the same but below. All right. So what we're trying to do here, it is actually create two boxes. One at the top here, and if we're above this threshold area, we have a strong trend. If we are not above that strong area and we're just above the zero line, and let me repaint that zero line just for our main purposes here. Let's do white, overkilling that, and then straight line. All right, let's click OK. Let's right click on it and then lock it. All right, if we're only above the zero line but we're not above the threshold zone, right? You see how we're dipping, you see how we're dipping, you see how we're dipping, right? If we are all over the place but above the zero line, we are in an uptrend but not in a strong uptrend, right? The same goes below here. Are we below in the clipping zone? We have a strong downtrend. Are we just all over the place but below the zero line? We're just in a regular downtrend. All right. So there's a little bit of that, how to measure that. All right. Let me just clean this up. You know what? I think I messed this up. Yep, I did. Let's go white. Let's take this one overkilled. It's gonna be okay. Make sure that it's locked, and then let me just clear this up. Perfect. All right. So now we understand how to measure strong trend versus just bearish or bullish trend, right? Now let's use the same thing here. Let's go click these three dots. Now let's go to secure code. Now that we have the code secure, let's go and copy it. Right click, copy. Let's go to our teacher, right? And let's do the same thing. Let's do awesome job. Keep it up, right? And then now I have a non-linear regression, right? You can even go here. Oh, there is multiple non-linear regression. I have a multiple and I'll see later called multiple nonlinear regression. Please explain based on the following code. And then I was just going to run across it, how it works, normalizing data, nonlinear regression calculation, right? We can skip this and let's go to the visibility trading signals, right? And then there we go. Particle use. Final thoughts, all right? If you see that this start getting a little bit too complex, go back, right? And remind him the base structure, all right? There we go. This is basically how to get, oh, look at that. I need to get a plus, whatever. Let's just ignore it for now. All right, perfect. So at this point, guys, I think you have a very, very complex, you can even digest very, very complex indicators into simple terms and also start using them right away, right? So you can ask them, all right, make me a general or all right, how can I use it in trading? And there you go. I think this is a full-fledged explanation how to use it. Remember that now ChatGPT has the code, which is open source. You can ask things about colors, you can ask things about signals, you can ask things about anything else, and even how it works in comparison to other indicators. All right. So it just go on till it have a full description. Let's just move into what is next. All right. At this point, either whichever you like, it's going to be for you. For my taste, I rather use the linear regression one. All right, let's go and take a look at another oscillator that I like, the Ichimoku oscillator. This is a kind of like a combination of the other two, right? It's not an actual combination, but visually it is. Why? Because we have the tight upwards channels, right? We have the above below, right? We have the Ichimoku clouds, so on and so forth. So guys, this is gonna be your homework. Check out the Ichimoku oscillator chart. We're gonna be just giving you guys a quick rundown just so you know how to do your homework. 3 dots, right? About the script, and this is gonna be giving you how to use it in simple terms, right? By the developer, which is ChartPrime. And then remember, just click this X, 3 dots, secure code, copy the code, paste the code, and let your teacher explain the rest. All right. So that will be it for our oscillators. Let's use the left of this class to start using or showing you a couple of other things that I really like. All right. So we ended up showing you the SMAs. We went over how to set up your trendy, right? So on and so forth. Now, we also, I believe that we looked at the Gauss trend crossing, right? This one here. Let me just click it. And by the way, if you start seeing these dots and you don't know what their dots are for, I already know which one they are. But if you don't know, double click. It's going to highlight what is it, right? And the name of it. So you can basically just go ahead and turn it off. Easy peasy. Let's turn everything off in here. Let's go at the end. Remember that this is talking about the parabola, right? Where is the main liquidity based on that parabolic movement, and then create a linear trend line based on that parabolic. This is one of my favorites. Why? Look at that. Remember what I told you? Crossing the bear. Where I think we were yesterday. I don't quite remember. I think we were here, right? So crossing it, about to confirm, and then crossing confirmation, right? So just remember that these signals are gonna be a little late, and that is because once we are crossing, we have confirmation for that signal. Remember that at this point you're looking for the actual price to break through and then configure your oscillator and move ahead of this confirmation. If you already have this confirmation, wait for pullbacks. All right, pullbacks on your short to enter like that, or pullbacks on your long to enter like that. All right. This is configured for inner structure, just so you know. Radius trend by ChartPrime. This is another one that I like. This is just a simplified version of the Gauss trend crossing, right? This is a radius trend. Almost the same thing. It has a little bit more smoothing. It does have a warning system built in. What is that warning system? Look at the hard line in here. Look at the dashed line in here, and look at the how it fades out, right? So as you start breaking into through this line, this is an entry point. Entry point till when? Till you are the other way around. All right. Now what you're looking for, crossing for losing the trend confirmation, right? Let's go ahead and look at what we're doing right now. So what's going to be my entry right after I'm above my 2 SMAs? When the price action is above the 2 SMAs, I'm bullish. So I'm looking for retracement to enter. All right. Where's my retracement? This is my retracement to enter for a long. This is my retracement because I'm touching the lines to enter for a long. This is my retracement to enter for a long. Look at that. In this case, we overshoot and we went for the next entry. What do we do in here? We set our stop loss. We get stopped out. That's fine. This is our secondary entry, not on the way down, on the way up, right there. And back to profits. All right. Now, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the same thing, dipping somewhere around here, right? So for our next opportunity to jump back in. All right. The same in a bearish trend. Every pull up that goes within the channel, that is our main entry point. All right. So that's what I got from radius trend. This is an amazing tool. You can also change the smoothing in here, right? Radius steps, right? And also the distance. Let's go for the next one here. Let me clear this up. RSI reward optimizer. Oh, risk reward optimizer. Oh, guys, this is one of my best indicators. Guys, this one here, it is much more than a risk reward optimizer. All right. This actually, behind the hood, you can actually create full-fledged strategies and prove the strategy with a back tester built in with this tool. All right, let me show it to you. There we go. This is for advanced users. All right, if you are not an advanced user, please first learn how to trade, and then separately, as a side project, look into this indicator. No joke, it took me like 2 weeks to keep playing around to wrap my head around this indicator. It's not complex, you just have too many things to work at the same time. All right, so let me show you what we have in here. Guys, this really gets me excited. All right, let's go in here and let me show you the settings. In here, risk reward optimizer. Guys, we're disguising a much bigger engine here. This is an actual back tester, guys. So that's why it gets me so excited. Back testing tools. So for example, here, inputs. You can position top right, just where you're going to be seeing that position, all right? Size, small. I like it to be normal. It just gives me a bigger output here, all right? Let's wait for it to load. All right, there we go. Much better, much easier to see, all right? Highlight max, win rate. Guys, this is a caveat, especially for new traders. Win rate and profit and loss are not the same. You can have a big win rate, like 48 win rate on this strategy, all right? Because this is showing you strategies, all right? Let me just move this right here. 48 win rate. And your profit and loss, where is it? Let me just change that. Win rate, profit and loss. Okay. Let's wait for this to recalculate. There we go. As you can see, your win rate was 50 before. Let me do it again so you can see it, all right? Let's change it, profit and loss, to win rate. Look at how the highlight changes, right? 50% win rate. This is amazing. But then it goes to what? It goes to what when I change it to profit and loss? To a 25% win rate. Into an unexperienced trader, this might be saying, hey, this is only a 25% win rate. This is bullcrap of a strategy. Wait. That is not truth, right? Because you can win $1 every single day, right? Or win, what, $100 once a week. At the end of the week, what or is it more profitable? The win rate factor or the profit and loss? In the example that I gave you guys, that was the the profit and loss factor. Why? Because at the end of the week, you will have $100, right? Whether in a 50% maybe win rate, you only had $7. Does that make sense? Because you're winning more, but you're winning smaller. All right. So just bear that in mind. Compare those two. Then back test dates. Telling you, this is back testing. So you can set up a set of dates and back test between those dates. Entry setup. Entry, internal, that's perfect. What are we looking for? External condition, closed. You can use whatever you have, Market Dynamics Pro, You can use your prime oscillator. You can use your linear regression. You have your non-linear regression, non-closed, open, high, low plot, whatever. Remember when I showed you that you can shut down the plots? And remember when I told you that you can turn off those plots? Here's how you can input them to test how they're playing out, right? If you have RSI, you can use RSI in here. But look at it. Let's just ignore external. Let's just keep internal usage. That's why we have it right here, internal, right? Not external, internal. We have, look at that, RSI. We're using RSI, only RSI. Maybe you can do RSI in MACD, right? And then let's configure, what about the RSI? So RSI, and do the RSI in MACD, horrible. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? Let's just do RSI. Sorry, let's do just only MACD. Let's wait for that. Oh, much better, right? So RSI and MACD at the same time might not be the way to go, right? But let's see how we configure them. So let's get started with RSI here. Let's go AO, no, RSI. There we go, RSI settings. Length, or the smoothing, right? Crossing over, or greater or smaller than. Value 40. So when the RSI on length 14 crosses over 40, right, it gives you an entry. All right. So MACD settings, you can change the MACD settings here. Stochastics, right? Moving averages. Oh, look at that, moving average, and we have simple moving averages. Remember that? We can even cross the test those. Stop loss settings. Then you set your stop losses, right? Capital, how much you're starting with? Maybe $1,000, right? So let's click OK. And here you'll see that you have your open trades. Let me show it to you. Let's go to the first one. Oh man, this is a long way to go. This is a good one. For example, right here, RSI crossing above. There we go. Entering for a long. Where your stop loss, red line is your stop loss. Your TP number 1 is your first purple. TP number 1, TP number 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you close it. Then there we go. RSI crosses over, entering for the trade. Stop loss gets stopped out. Again, entering for the trade on the RSI. Stop loss, stopped out, right? But look at that. You're having a much greater, so you're losing more trades. But the ones that you're winning big. That's why it doesn't matter at this point. You having your RSI ratio 3 to 1. 3 to 1 is giving you a much higher win, loss and win ratio, right? Not profitability. Then a 1 to 1, it will give you a much greater win rate, but at the end of it all, your profit and loss will be negative. So usually go for a combination between those both, right? Right here, where you're changing, it is the ratio of your stop loss, basically. Look at that. Let's go to a long position. Right here. So this is 5 or 3 to 1. Something like that. No, wait. My bad. There we go. 3 to 1. Or 3.5 to 1. All right. And then if I go to 1 to 1, this will be 1 to 1. There we go. Right. So 1 to 1 is giving you a horrible profit and loss. 3 to 1 is giving you the best profit and loss. So if you're trading with RSI, what would your leverage be based on a 3 to 1 ratio? You see that? So it's back testing a combination of factors. Guys, this is just advanced. Make simple, right? So we're running out of time. In fact, we're over time right now. Tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the ribbon. So tomorrow is going to be 4.2. The rest of my indicators today were oscillators, right? And tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the ribbon. And then, by the way, I love this indicator. Let's go all the way to the downside, to the end. In here. Oh, come on. And it's not matching. Oh, it's just loading. All right. Nevertheless, don't worry. We're going to be taking a look at the ribbon. Mats, it's big. I usually use it I used to use it every single day. Order blocks, by the way, if you don't have the order blocks that we have on Market Dynamics, don't worry, we got you covered, guys, with order blocks and liquidity voids for market structuring here with Chart Prime. So you don't have to go seek anywhere else. You got it right here with order blocks. Bar magnifier volume profile, one of my best order VPVRs out there. If you don't have the paid version, I would recommend using this one. Also, we have Fibonacci's. So hello, Piper. I think we got your replacement. No, just kidding. But you have the Fibo levels in here. Also, I do recommend using them with manual Fibonacci's. Fibonacci trend, just basically telling you where the trend is most likely to go based on a Fibonacci retracement. All right. So at this point, most likely we're gonna be rejecting based on the Fibonacci sequence. All right. Just without anything else, this is, guys, most likely rejecting. All right. Liquidity Hunter, guys, perfect to see where could we be looking for that liquidity point. So that means that we could be rejecting. Look at that. For example, rejecting out of here, going to the first liquidity, look at that, finding support and go to hunt the liquidity like that. You see that? You see how I'm stepping up 2 steps ahead in the market just with those two, right? So that tells me that my next entry is all the way down here. All right. So what else do we have right there? Liquidity Hunter and SMR. I love this one. This basically gives you a setup channel to predict how that channel might be behaving. All right. This one, you need to use it with caution. All right. I'll explain that tomorrow. Nonetheless, I think that is it for today, guys. Let's go and hit it out. There we go, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Hopefully you have liked this video. Remember, guys, please save that prompt. That is for my, I think that is one of the most important things that I will ever be showing here. Why? Because this is deep within my arsenal, and I just wanted to share with you guys and use it with any other free indicator out there. You will have access to the Pine editor script, and then using that, it can explain to you anything else. Also, guys, if you hear something, for example, in the morning market report, something about GDP, something about whatever, ask the bot. The bot knows it. All right. So I just want to give you that little gift from my side, also, of course, on behalf of ChatGPT, because it runs that way. But the prompt, it is simply engineered to give you complex situation in simple answers. All right. Other than that, guys, hopefully you have had a great session today and you have a lot of knowledge as well as I have a lot of fun. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. And remember, let's get a Ram truck.